Before we begin, I want to be very clear about the nature of this video. I'm going to be discussing an extensive investigative report recently published by The New Yorker titled Sam Altman May Control Our Future, Can He Be Trusted? This piece was authored by Ronan Farrow and Andrew Marantz, and it is the result of an 18-month deep dive involving over 100 interviews and previously undisclosed internal documents. Everything I'm talking about today is based on the findings and alleged accounts within that article, combined with my own personal analysis of the patterns described. I'm not a reporter, I'm someone who looks at these facts and tries to draw a conclusion about the man who is currently engineering the most transformative technology in human history. And after looking at the evidence presented, I have a personal name for the persona described in this report. Rat Altman. Not as a simple insult, but as a descriptor for what appears to be a recurring, alleged pattern of survivalist manipulation, shifting loyalties, and a fundamental lack of transparency. One of the most damning aspects of this investigation isn't just hearsay, it's the reported existence of internal documentation from those closest to him. The article references a 70-page dossier allegedly combined by OpenAI's former chief scientist, Aya Sutskever, and over 200 pages of private notes from Dario Amodei, who eventually left to found Anthropic. These aren't just differences of opinion. The report states that one of Sutskever's memos begins with a heading saying, Sam exhibits a consistent pattern of ... And the very first item, the very first line on that entire list is lying. When the board famously fired Altman in 2023, the public narrative was that it was a communication breakdown. But the investigation reveals what it claims is a much darker reality. When allegedly pressed by the board to acknowledge his pattern of deception, Altman reportedly said, "This is just fucked up. I can't change my personality." Now, think about that for a moment. If someone allegedly admits they cannot change a personality trait that involves lying to their own directors, they aren't apologizing. They are admitting that deception is a core part of their operating system. Altman later told the authors he does not recall this exchange, but the reported pattern suggests something far more strategic. What I find most interesting is that, allegedly, this isn't new. The New Yorker report traces this behavior back to his earlier companies as well, such as Looped, where senior employees allegedly twice asked the board to fire him for the lack of transparency, and even at Y Combinator, the legendary Paul Graham reportedly told colleagues after Altman's departure that Sam had been lying to all of them, all the time. We are looking at 20 years of the most influential people in Silicon Valley, all allegedly coming to the same conclusion that this man is unconstrained by truth, and yet somehow he is the one we have entrusted with the power of AGI. Perhaps the most chilling revelation in the report is the country's plan from 2017. Altman and Greg Brockman allegedly saw OpenAI as a geopolitical leverage tool. The premise in the boardroom, according to the article, was effectively, we're talking about potentially the most destructive technology ever invented. What if we sold it to Putin? I mean, this shit is crazy. Jack Clark, the former policy director, described the strategy as a prisoner's dilemma, allegedly making nations feel that not funding OpenAI was a danger to their own security. A junior researcher in the room allegedly described the plan as completely fucking insane. I mean, I totally agree. It's absolutely fucking insane. The report suggests that Altman only abandoned this idea because he realized he would lose his staff if he kept pushing it. So to me, this suggests that Altman's only true north is staff retention and capital, and not the safety of the human race, which allegedly was how he even got people to invest and work on OpenAI in the first place. Basically, the mask slipped further as OpenAI transitioned from a non-profit to a for-profit organization, which was the very thing Altman warned Musk about when they together created OpenAI back in the day, that the power should not be held by a profit-seeking mega corporation. And this is exactly what OpenAI has become. Allegedly, we see this most clearly in how they handle their most valuable resources, compute. OpenAI officially pledged 20% of its massive computing power to superalignment, the team tasked with ensuring AGI doesn't cause human extinction, basically. It was $1 billion promise. Jan Leek, who led the team, admitted it was a pretty effective retention tool, but the commitment was basically an illusion. While the public heard 20%, insiders say that the team actually received between 1 and 2%. And furthermore, they weren't even using the good stuff. Researchers claim that their work was relegated to the oldest clusters with the worst chips. I mean, the conclusion is hard to ignore, right? Superior hardware is being reserved for profit-generating activities, while safety is used as a marketing veneer to keep talent from walking out the door. OpenAI isn't just operating as a business, it's operating as a bait and switch, using the safety brand to monopolize the very technology it once promised to protect us from. We also have to address the most sensitive part of the investigation, the civil lawsuit filed by his sister, Annie Altman. She alleges that years of sexual abuse beginning when she was a child. Sam and his mother and his brothers have released joint statements calling these claims utterly untrue and characterizing Annie as someone in the need of mental health treatment. And while these remain allegations, they contribute to the broader portrait the investigation paints, and that is a man protected by a sophisticated apparatus that works to manage his image and silence dissent. So to answer the very question posed by the New Yorker, can Sam Altman be trusted? And based on the evidence in this 18-month investigation, the answer seems pretty clear. It seems to be a resounding no. You cannot trust this man. We are witnessing a man who allegedly treats ethics as PR obstacle and global safety as a bargaining chip. If Sam Altman truly controls our future, then our future is being built by someone who, by his own admission, cannot change a personality defined by deception. We need to stop looking at him as a visionary and start looking at him as a rat, a master of leverage who is only loyal to the person in the mirror. And I'd argue that we need external forces to do a deep dive into Sam Altman and OpenAI's current operations. This article, this material, is what 2 journalists managed to find. Who knows what the FBI would be able to? AI isn't just a make life easier tool. It is a tool that can potentially tarnish the entire global civilization, and it is currently being led by a guy who brags that he was a champion ping pong player, like Missouri high school ping pong champ, and then proving to be one of the worst players in the office. Based on this report, the guy cannot stop lying. And it seems impossible to trust a word that comes out of this guy's mouth. But don't take my word for it. Go read the article for yourself. There's so much more that I didn't even cover here. So please go do it. It's an amazing deep dive into OpenAI and specifically into Sam Altman and his personality. And yeah, that's about it. That's just what I want to talk about. See ya.